So in the Central Asian nation of Kazakhstan, there is a vodka maker who has put the phrase, "The power of Allah suffices for all," on the label of a particular vodka that they're making. And this has angered Muslims in the country who are saying that this particular company should be contrite and ask forgiveness for this particular bit of blasphemy that they've done. It's interesting to note that while ethnically the majority of people in Kazakhstan are Sunni Muslims, there's actually a very large Slavic group who lives in the country, and as far as alcohol consumption goes, because religious attitudes in this country are pretty relaxed, there's actually a lot of alcohol consumption sort of across the board.
Okay.
So it's interesting to point out that I think that the particular company who made this was probably thinking, and I'm only guessing, but I'm thinking that in their heads they were thinking, well, the Muslim people who enjoy our vodka
will like this.
In some way might appreciate this.
Uh-huh.
So, it's sort of a short story. I mean, this country is very laid back, as I said, religiously, and so there's not been any reported violence about this particular issue yet, despite the fact that an imam is calling for them to apologize, basically. I mean, he's not, that's the interesting part, he's not calling for their deaths, which is, in this kind of story, it seems like we would hear so much. That, imams would immediately be like, that man must die, or whatever, behead those who insult Islam, and things like that.
Is there any suggestion that it's coming from, like, a fundamentalist kind of Islam?
No, not even that. I mean, it's this particular article off the Huffington Post is not particularly detailed in that way. They're not saying that he's a fundamentalist or anything. He's just saying apparently that he finds it blasphemous, and he thinks they should take it off and they should apologize. But there's no like I said, there's no further threats or anything like that. So,
but still, really, just more of a story of religious people being unable to take a joke.
Maybe.
Okay.
But I found it interesting, at least in the sense of, because I think when we talk about religious. Right, but when we talk about religious people and religious people like being insulted, so much when you hear about Islam, the only thing you hear about is they're not just insulted, like there's this call to violence. And so when we talk about religious people, it's good to note that not all religious people are fundamentalists, and not all religious people take it to this extreme of they want violence, they want this, they want that, they want recompense. It's not like that. There are moderate people who sort of live in a reality where they, I think, can see that we can all get along. Mm-hmm. And they can, I don't really take any issue with them being insulted by this, but I guess a larger question that we should ask is, should the company feel the need to take this off the label? I guess if you're going to look at it from a business standpoint, and if the Muslim people who enjoy their vodka stop buying their vodka because this label's on there, then they have a business reason to take it off.
Right.
But if it doesn't really affect their sales, if the average Muslim who is buying this vodka and drinking it and enjoying it doesn't seem to mind that this is on there, should they take it off simply because some portion of the population is insulted by it? And one of the little comments that I saw online on the Huffington Post under this article mentioned, well, we wouldn't like it if in the United States somebody made a pork product and they called it, Jew Zone or something like that. Or if we had,
well, we have things like the polygamy porter.
Right, I know. And what if we had something that was really insulting? Like, what if we had like a tobacco product that called itself, N-word tobacco, or Blackie's Tobacco, or something like that, and they had like a really racist picture of that, the I don't know if you've ever seen them.
Something in blackface or
right,
something like
that. Blackface, like we used to see a long time ago, like when they would do that on products. Like, should a manufacturer be required to take something off that's insulting just because someone finds it? Like, I think no, and I think what would happen, at least in the United States, is if you had a product like that, people would not buy it just because it was insulting. And then that would give, it's the same idea here. If Muslim people don't like it for this vodka, they won't buy it. And then the company has a financial reason to not do that. And I think that is a better driver than just someone stands up and says, I take offense to that, and immediately you take it off.
Right.
And especially in this case, I mean, it's one thing saying blackies tobacco, and that's like intended to be an insult. In this case, I don't honestly think the manufacturer intended it to be an insult.
Right, and well, I guess that's, to me, where a lot of the difference would lie in depending on how you phrase it. This isn't like openly mocking Allah in
not in a way I can see.
It's not like get drunk and feel like Allah or something like that. It's just saying that the power of Allah suffices all. Like there's an element to where that's playful.
Yeah.
Whereas, like you're saying, like the Blackie Tobacco with like the, Amos and Andrew kind of image on it would be much
that
more...
would be intended to be an insult, especially in the time that we live now. It wouldn't be intended to be an insult.
I think it's an interesting point.
So, just one of those things I guess I want to throw out there for discussion. Feel free to go to our forums at outcastandzion.com and discuss it. I will post a link to this particular article in the forum, and if people want to talk about it, we're all for that. Outcasts out.